Max.
Hello, I'm Max. Today we will present you
Our winery Ferdinand.
Hi, I'm Yasmina, and Matias will introduce you to our beautiful region of Brda.
Hello. We are now located in the heart of Brda. Brda is most western wine growing piece of Slovenia, located from one side from the Italian border, and on the other side with the higher hills which finish on the mountains. Brda is a historic wine growing region with a long tradition. The tradition here is older than since the Roman times, so it's very old, and it's very particular because of our climate, and we don't have barriers between the mountains and the sea line. So we're close, 40 kilometers away, close to the Adriatic Sea, and 40 kilometers by the Alps. This creates extremely good climate conditions for winemaking and wine growing. So I invite you to see the vineyard of Ravnica. Please follow me. We're located now in the vineyard under Martno. Its name is Ravnica. In introduction, it means flat piece of land because it's located on the top of the hill from one side and going into steep slopes on the other side, on the southwestern part of the vineyard. We planted here Rebula in 2017. Rebula is our indigenous variety which is grown in our area for many centuries. It's also our most planted wine grape of our region with over 20% of our surface. Rebula is a white variety with a medium alcohol content, with a nice acidity and very nice balance. As the grape has quite big bunches, that's why we opted for this vineyard to make the cordon training system. As you see here, we have the formation of the trunk with the 1, 2, 3, 4 spurs and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 buds per spur. So in this way we try to make uniformity of the vegetation, and especially what's very important for Rebula, we have really uniform ripening, because Rebula sometimes in the harvest it's not ripe the same way. Different grapes are more ripe, the others are less. So with this system we are trying to avoid this and to get more uniformity. So shortly we will start with suckering. This means we clean all the sprouts and water sprouts out of the trunk, and we clean all, and we just leave two buds per spur. Each of them will ferment two grapes, hopefully, if all the weather conditions will be nice. So for example here we have 3. We clean 1, 2. So we just have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 per spur, and clean the trunk. So this, for example, it's just fermenting the cordon because last year I didn't explain you, we had hail, and some trunks were great and like the others, and this was to remake a new one. So we have to repeat the process. So we just clean down, and we'll take this as a cordon for the next year. I can show you maybe here. This is a younger wine, so we have to clean all this down. And I will show you already grapes on. This is grape formation. It will have usually two grapes per bud. So this plantation of Rebula, it's a clonal plantation of the region of Barda called Barda 3 and Barda 5, and it's a selection of the last decades of work on clonation of Rebula of this region. As you see, the soil is worked because we try to, as the vines are very young, we try to work the roots to go deeply and to formate the trunk to be thicker and stronger, to be more adaptive to stress condition which will come in the next month and the next years. So as you see around, this is springtime. The temperatures are getting higher. Today over 20 degrees between the day, but during the night, especially last week, we had temperatures below zero, and that was quite problematic for some, especially for fruit trees, for peaches and apricots, not so much for cherry trees, but many of producers of fruit lost their crops for whole the year. Luckily, the grapevine is more tardive, so we don't have this kind of problems usually, and we just see the formation of the grapes, and the flowering is much later than the trees. So that's all. I suggest to move to another vineyard to see its peculiarity, and move to Koisko on the other hill. We moved to different vineyard right now. We're located in Koisko. Koisko is also one of the villages where we have our vineyards. We're located now just beside the church of Koisko. It's called Sveti Križ. It's one of the oldest church, very typical of the region. It is like in Šmartno, it was circulated by towers and the wall, and in the middle was the church, so everything was needed for the protection by the invaders. The vineyard beside the church, it's called Breg, break introduction, it means steep slope. So as you see, this is a vineyard in like an amphitheater form, and its exposition is southeast. So we have the higher hills and the Mount of Sabotin beside, and Nova Gorica. So we have a very nice exposure. What's very typical for this vineyard is that it's often windy, so like also now, and the wind blows from the southeastern part up, and it's very ventilated always. So this vineyard was planted in 2000, so it's a millennium vineyard, and everything was planted by Merlot. For this vineyard we used the two clones. The most used one is Air 3, which is an Italian clone, and the other is a French clone, 347, which has a little bit smaller berries, so we have a little bit more dense pulp and more extraction. As you see, in this vineyard we have a different training system. We have a single griot, which is probably the most typical training system in Berda. It's also our most adaptive training system. So we have really controlled production and yielding and growing. As you see, all the vineyard is under grass, so it's covered by grass, and now everything is getting to blossom, as the flowers and the trees. So it's a moment where the spring started, and in this vineyard we're a little more tardive, so it's still budding time. So the buds are still not open, and it's a little bit more tardive, and one of our last vineyards to harvest. Like I explained before, it's quite windy, but on the other side it's very warm, and that's why this vineyard it's excellent for making full-bodied but fruity wines at the same time. We use this vineyard as a basic vineyard for our red wine Rdeča Epoka. So maybe one more thing, as you see, everything is under grass, but the soil type is the same as everywhere. So it's marl and sandstone. It's just a thin part of layer of the sand of the soil up, and under it's opoka, marl and sandstone. So what's very typical for all our vineyards. So I suggest you to follow me to the next one and to see the differences between them. Located now in the vineyard called Pročno. It's situated under the village of Kojsko. Its altitude is around 170 meters above sea level, and here on the center part we have the old plantation of Merlot, which was planted in 1974. On the top, we bought a piece of land, and we planted also Merlot. It's still a new plantation. Last year we had the first harvest. And on the other side, on the southern part of the parcel, we have the Malvasia, which was planted in 2016. So this is in the central part. There are old wines of Merlot, like I explained before. We use for our best cuvée, Red Brutus. And this part of the vineyard, it's yielding very low. That's why we have covered by grass, like we have in all of our vineyards. And as you see, we don't use any kind of herbicides. We don't use any kind of insecticides. We don't use any kind of botryticides. And obviously, in any of our vineyards, we don't use irrigation. And a lot of things is made by hand. Also the harvest, pruning, training, only the spraying or other stuff are made mechanically. As you see also in this vineyard, we are having the same training system, so the single guyot, and the grapes are budding now, and we'll shortly start with suckering also here. You see already some grape starting to see grape development, and as you see also, this is also this part of vineyard, it's covered by grass. This is because all our vineyards, old vineyards, are covered by grass. Only the new ones, we're working the terrain to stimulate the growth of the roots and the trunk. We are in a moment of bud breaking. Some buds are already open, like this. You see the formation of the grapes already, and some are still closed. As I explained before, those are old vines and have very thick trunk and very deep roots. That's very important for the quality and consistency every year. Even in very bad conditions, we're able to obtain great quality of the wines. That's why this wine we produce Brutus Red with these grapes. In all of our vineyards, it's more or less the same soil. As you see, it's we call it locally opoka. It's very poor soil, where sometimes even the grass does not grow. So it's stony, rocky, and very friable. I would like to show you later, if you follow me, the soil profile of the structure of our soil. So we came here to show you our terrain profile. As you see, it's quite unique. It's a soil of Eocenic origin, so it means it's old at least 35 millions of years. There are layers of marl and sandstone, and this soil is very compact under the ground, but since you dig it or it's out of surface, it's very friable. So as you see, its main mineral is calcite, and it's a soil which apports a lot of minerality to the wines. Combined with our weather condition, we obtain really balanced and very mineral and wines which are very excellent for aging. I wanted to show you also the same variety and the same vineyard, the difference of the growing. So, and you saw very small, even closed buds on the old vines of Merlot, and and these are young wines. They are much more advanced as a growth. So you see they're open, all the buds, and more green. So we're starting with suckering shortly. We'll clean all the trunk to give more energy to push up for the yields. You see already the formation of the grapes also here. So I suggest to move to the cellar and to taste something. Come on. Come in. So we are now in the cellar we started to build in 1998. This is a part of the cellar where we have the stainless steel tanks, and we have everything under temperature control. And this is a part of the cellar we use for fermentation and vinifying the classic wines, so the wines which are kept all the time in stainless steel. On the other side, we need this part of the cellar for blending the wines which come out of the barrel-aged wines, which are located in the stone cellar. So this is the cellar we built with the stones we digged. So this is a local stone which is also used for the construction of the houses and historically the main stone of the region. In this cellar we have the wines which we sell under the brand of Epoca and Brutus, which I will explain later, the vinification systems. As you see, all the barrels are made of French oak of different size. We have the 2025 liters, like this, for X size. We have the 500 liter size, like this one, which are mainly used for the whites. And we also have the 1000 liter size, which are both here, which we use even for white and for red wines. So I suggest you to show some work we are making during this time in the cellars. So I will call my son to help me. Max, ne bomo Pušujte sod, kar beži po tisto peto. So I will explain you one process we are always doing with white wines we are aging into the barrels. I kad pomiješaj, from time to time we taste the wine and we make as far as that the white wines are fermenting in the barrels. They have its own sediment and its own yeast on the bottom. So they are not protected with any kind, with any kind of additives, any kind of sulfur, so they are completely natural. So with batonnage, it's a system which moves the yeast. We keep and move the barrels in suspension, so the yeast come up, and this is necessary for many things, but mainly for the protection against oxidation, and also to, after the fermentation, to push the malolactic fermentation to end and to help to avoid oxidation, because it's completely without any additive till the next harvest. Zapri, so those are barrels of Rebula for Rebula Epoca. And the wines will remain in the barrels on its own lease for till the next harvest. Max, you can go also this. Like this. So all the yeasts are pushed up, and the wine is not anymore clean. So we make this process very often during the end of the alcoholic fermentation, and later we use it less and less in this period. On the mid of April, maybe we do it only twice per month. Max, take the other, vzemi uno za tisto skrono. So I will show you now maybe the most particular white wine we make. It's still now on its own grapes. So this is Rebula Brutus. It's a wine which is kept for 12 months on the maceration on its own skin. So as you see, it's seeds and berries on. Move the sediment to seal. You see? There are grapes inside the wine till and they will remain till the next harvest. This is also a wine with any kind of additives, a wine made with a very rigorous selection on the vineyards, and we make only 2 barrels of this wine per year, so even not every year, and it's made by 2 our best vineyards. From those we select only the best bunches, the best grape bunches off, and we collect them and bring to the cellar. We destem them directly in the barrels without crushing them, and we keep it for all the time of fermentation making the punch over, and after the alcoholic fermentation, obviously the malolactic is made, and after malolactic we fulfill the barrels and we keep them here till the next harvest. So just after 12 months of aging with the berries, with the grapes, the wine is wrecked and pressed and kept another year in the barrels of 500 liters. So after 2 years the wine is bottled and filtered and unfined, so it's quite a unique wine style of called orange wine, and with quite a lot of phenolic components into the wine. But it's very unique, made natural wine, which it's very difficult to make, and it's almost impossible to make in some regions in the world. So I suggest to move to somewhere else. With the reds we have here, we already moved some reds to the new cellar. We are finishing this year, and we'll have the new harvest already over there. We have to taste some wines there, and Maxi will help me, and maybe hopefully also my wife. We came to the new cellar now. We moved some red wines already over here, so come and follow me to taste some. Let's try Merlot Prochno first. This is a Merlot Prochno for 2019. It's now only 6 months in the barrel, so it's really on the beginning of the process of the vinification.
It's young, clean on the nose, fruity, cherry.
Very nice. Nice tannins. Not too much wood, nice tannins.
Fresh, fruity.
Earthy.
Nice.
We have to try the wines from time to time and to see the evolution, and especially if the wines are closing or they need some wrecking, maybe. That's why we always top them after the tastings. This is only old wines, Merlot Prochno, the same vineyard.
The difference?
That was a mix with some new vineyards. You feel more wood here. More extraction.
Yeah. It's fuller.
Much fuller.
Body.
Longer aftertaste. Slightly rounder on the end also.
It's different.
Yeah. Also different barrel, a little different blend. Happy?
Yeah.
Merlot for Red Epoca as a blend. Still 2019.
This is from?
From Black.
Okay.
Totally different palate, so different entrance nose,
More elegant.
more elegant, no so deep, intense, no so complex, but really nice fruit. Let's try some 2018, which is awesome as a vintage. So let's compare it with Merlot Rochno.
It's freezing here inside.
Should
So
be
cold.
in cellar.
I know. This is more rich, more earthy.
Perfect. This is one of the best vintages in the last 10 years. Yeah.
It's very full.
Luckily, we have quite a lot of this wine, so great potential. It's still on the midway, so it's 18 months in the barrels. It would be also another 18 months in the barrel till the bottling. Still on the halfway of its development in the wood. Here we have also another brand, 2018. Just to compare it to the previous one, because it was just 10 months in the barrels now, compared to the other, it was 18. So just you will see the difference.
So less wood.
Yeah.
Fruity, fruity, fruity.
Yeah, more still grape feel. The Merlot, typical aroma of Merlot. Very clean, very
Clean, elegant. Nice.
with all blended.
Great.
We came to our tasting room now, and I owe you some explanations about our history, about our story, our vision, our philosophy, and obviously about our wines. As many of wine producers inherited the business, we are one of the few who started from zero. Practically my grandfather Ferdinand was a member of the family of the biggest farmer family and winery family of the village of Kojsko. Unfortunately, he passed by in the Second World War, and my relatives, my grandmother and my father couldn't live of wine almost all their life. In 1993, we had the occasion to buy and re-rent my grandfather had, and we decided to start from zero. In 93, so we planted the first vineyard, and in 1997, we started with bottling the wines. I studied all the time agriculture and winemaking, and in 96 I finished my university in Ljubljana. So after many years, we built the cellar, the first our cellar in 1998, and this year in 2020 we are moving our cellar, our warehouse to the other location because we are growing as a winery, as a brand, and as a reputation. So the first cellar we made was too small for us. I would explain to you also something about our wines. So generally we make three styles. The classic wines are the first line, are the most young wine made in stainless steel, and we make different wines of that. We have the Rebula, the Pinot Grigio, the Malvasia of the whites, and Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon of the red varieties. Those wines are more easy drinking. They're everyday wines and not too complex, but very varietal and very clean. Then we have the Epoca line, which is a line of more selected and different, more complex wines, in which they are all barrel aged, and we produce the Rebula Epoca, the Pinot Grigio Epoca, the red Epoca, which is a blend of Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. Those are wines under this brand are always more suitable for aging. And the last line is Brutus. It's the most unique and complex line, very naturally made wines. And we just make two wines for now, and those are Rebula, which is made as an orange wine, so with a long skin contact. And the best red we make is Red Brutus, which is mainly made by Merlot, to which we add a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon. Beside our wines, we also make a sparkling named by under Cinefinis. This is a joint venture wine because we make this wine with my colleague over the border from Collio. And it's a unique wine because it comes from both regions, so from Verda and from Collio. So that's why also we name it Cinefinis, which means without end, without border. We have now Rebolium Cinefinis, which is our sparkling wine made on traditional method, on Champenoise method, made 100% by Rebula. This wine was made, like I said before, half in Slovenia and half in Italy, and it's and was assembled before the bottling, and after the bottling was aged on its own lease for at least 3 years. This is a millésime 2015, and was degorged on the end of the year of 2019. And as a wine, it's very dry, so it's an extra brut. And the nose is very fresh, very live. Not too many yeasts inside. Slightly fruity. A little citric. Lemon. Herbs. A little of bread. Great entrance in the mouth. Nice perlage, nice mouthfeel, very mineral, excellent balance, very nice acidity. This citrus blend which helps to the wine being very vibrant. Very good length. Certain roundness because of the permanence on the lees. Still very fresh, but on the same way already developed, and it's a wine which is a very nice wine. It's a wine which matches, it's very good as an aperitif, but also matches quite well a different kind of food. And we use it basically for the aperitif, but it can be used also with many kind of dishes, especially with raw fish or with oysters, scampi with olive oil, or different kind of fish. Also more complex food because it's very dry and it's also very food friendly. So it's very combinable wine. And the people especially like it because of its drinkability and entrance on the palate. It's not so aggressive as a champagne, but it's much more elegant than compare on Prosecco or many kind of cava or different kind of sparkling around the world. It's also quite unique because you can find many of classic made Rebulas in the world. Second wine to taste, it's again the same variety, Rebula. This wine is Rebula Epoca, and it's only a wine made from our estate. I would spend some words on Rebula because it's our most planted and most important variety, not only in our estate but also in our region. Rebula as a grape has been cultivated in our region for many centuries, and it's also about being more adapted variety. It's more planted, and as a variety it's quite yielding. That's why we have to be quite strict with Rebula, but it's also a variety from which you may obtain different wines. And also in our cellar we're making 4 styles. Beside the sparkling, we make the classic line made as a fresh wine, made vinified only stainless steel. Then we make Rebula Epoca, we will be describing after. And we also make another wine which is Rebula Brutus, which is a wine made with a long permanence on its own skins. So it's a wine which is maybe used for really different styles because it has a great balance, a medium alcohol content, great acidity, and as a grape has a big bunches and quite thick skin with great consistency, and as ripening is the last ripening variety of the whites. So going to the wine, Rebula Epoca, it's a wine during the vinification we collect very selected grapes, and we destem them, keep them for some hours on skins, so to get more pulp, more consistency, and we press the grapes then and just leave for decanting in stainless steel just by temperature. And just the next day we rack them directly into barrique barrels and tonneau barrels. No, sorry, not barrique, only tonneau, and 1000 liter barrels also. And the wine is then left to start the alcoholic fermentation. And since after 2 to 3 weeks alcoholic fermentation, the malolactic fermentation starts, and the wine then remains in the barrels for 12 months. So after 12 months of barrel aging, we just blend the different barrels and in stainless steel and bottle the wine. The wine color is golden reflection. Nose, it's very open, very mineral. Nice aromas, very fruity aromas of ripe fruit. Also very spicy. Mediterranean herbs. Especially basil. Yarrow fruits. Mandarin, but also more evolved fruit like pineapple, peach, golden apple, but also more ripe, wildflower honey. And the nose similar sometimes to a Chablis. On the palate, very mineral, concentrated, full flavor. Again, Mediterranean spices. I feel some pear, melon, also orange peel. Honey, hints of vanilla. Very spicy, dry on the end. The wine has a really vertical texture, nice acidity, good balance, very long finish. Oily but not too much. It's really a wine which is very good for bottle aging and extremely good for food. Rebula, it's probably our best wine for food matching, and it can be matched with many kind of food. So Rebula is matching really greatly different kind of food. As a traditional food, regional food, it's fartalia, a kind with omelette with local vegetable. Local fish is trout, coming from the Socha River. But we have also many friends working with Rebula greatly with different a little bit more international plates like homemade pate with truffles and white flower honey, or fish sea soup, frog fish with basil, rice sea bass with basil, chicken with curry, and many others. So it's a really a wine which we may use for different kind of food, and it's really food matching wine. I honestly think that it's one of the best wines in the world for gastronomy. This is our red blend Ardece Epoca 2015. It's a wine, our most important red wine. It's a wine made by 70% Merlot and 30% Cabernet Sauvignon. in the vinification process, we work the wines with the medium long vinification maceration process. So we keep it on the skins for 2 to 3 weeks, and after that we press the grapes, and just after the pressing we fulfill the barrels to end the alcoholic and to start the malolactic fermentation in the barrels. And this way we add a little bit of elegance and softness to the wines. And after the malolactic fermentations, obviously we have to rag the barrels to make the more clean aging process in the barrels. We keep the wine in the barrels for at least 24 months. We use only French oak of different styles. So French oak, 1/3 of those it's new, 2/3 are already used oak. Because in this wine we have our vision to have the fruit combined with the complexity of the wine. So the fruit part for us in this wine is very important, but also the complex wine is important. So this is probably our most balanced wine. After 2 years, we assemble different barrels and bottle the wine. This is also wine which ages pretty well. So on the color, it's ruby color with a hint of granite on the edges. On the nose, you feel black forest fruit, blackberries, concentrated aromas, very mineral already on the nose, plum, ripe cherry, a hint of vanilla, very territorial style. Full taste on the palate, ripe fruit. Again, blackberries, quite earthy. Well balanced tannins. Any kind of green beside. Slightly peppery. Nice complexity. Very good wine. It's a wine which may age for many years still, and still very young. And one of our advantages making this wine is that it's quite pretty drinkable when it's young, but it improves with time. So since if you have occasion to buy it, the wine will become better and better with aging. It's also one of our wines which is very food friendly. I suggest you to match with different kind of food, and I like it with lamb, with steak on the grill, with raw meat, with curd meat, tagliata on grill. Also locally we eat a lot of sausages, so it's also a good combination with sausages. Maybe also a good match would be tuna with cocoa. So it's a wine which is for us very important. Rdeća epoka. We're tasting now our best, most complex red cuvée called Red Brutus. This wine is made in our oldest vineyard, Pročno, and it's not made every year. So we are depending much on the weather conditions and the ripening of every season. As far as we make a very limited production of this wine, we don't make it if we are not 100% satisfied. This wine is made with 3 to 4 weeks of skin maceration, and after the skin maceration we make the pressing and alcoholic and the finishing of alcoholic and all the malolactic fermentation in the barrels. For this wine we use only new French oak barrels, and we keep the wines in the oak barrels for at least 2 years, and after 2 years again we rake the wines to age their evolution process to bigger barrels for 12 months. So the evolution for this wine is totally of 36 months. After 36 months we make the blending and the bottling of the wine. We bottle the wine unfiltered and unfined, so in a very, very natural way as possible. So as you see, the color of the wine is really deep ruby red. Still no signs of brick color on the edge of the glass. On the nose, you feel really blackberries, really intense nose. Black fruit. Really intense nose. Complex. And the palate is rich, very textured, clean, very expressive. Dark forest, blueberries, a hint of vanilla because of oak. Velvety, spicy, slightly peppery, almost like licorice. Very good tannins. Still strong tannins, but on the other side they are soft tannins, very quality tannins. Almost graphitic taste, very earthy. Dark chocolate at the end. But the wine is still fresh, very young, this wine will long very, very well. In combination with food, this is extremely meat matching food, so I suggest it with grilled steak, with costata on grill, or with grilled filet, deer, mainly meat. It's very powerful, and it needs also powerful food to match, to combine with wine. I suggest this wine may last at least 15 years. Cheers.